Alabama trying to defend their national championship, the one they won last year under Nick Saban. But Cincinnati, an upstart, looking to be the first Group of 5 team to ever win a college football playoff game. Number 1 Alabama, number 4 Cincinnati, and we're previewing it for you right here on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show right now. And I didn't stutter saying now.
The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is on the air. Alabama football is rolling, and we've got you covered with a breakdown of the game matchup, an SEC preview, and all the fun of an afternoon on the quad. With Bama Insider Managing Editor Kyle Henderson, recruiting expert Andrew Bone, and former Crimson Tide Sports Network broadcaster and SEC Network play-by-play voice Mick Gillispie. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is presented by Yuengling Lager. Yuengling, America's oldest brewery and the only beer you need at a Bama tailgate party. Pearl River Resort Casino and Hotel in Choctaw, Mississippi. Let's Play, now featuring the sports book at the Timeout Lounge. Also brought to you by the Floribama world-famous Beach Bar and Lounge in Orange Beach. Genesis of Tuscaloosa, luxury with a national championship service department. Sevierville, your Smokies start here. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. Innisfree, an Alabama Irish pub tradition. Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports, not too small, not too big. Tuscaloosa is pronounced just right. Commercial banker Jay Weber with Service First Bank. Hotel Indigo, Tuscaloosa's amazing upscale boutique lodging in downtown. NewLifeArt.com, publisher of fine art editions by Daniel A. Moore. R&R Cigar, the home of the Victory Cigar, with 2 locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport. And Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Now, here are Kyle and Mick.
Welcome to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. The show is presented by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to preview the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide and the number 4 Cincinnati Bearcats. 2:30 at AT&T Stadium, Dallas. It is the Cotton Bowl. It is the college football playoff. And today on the show, we've got a lot of my good buddies to help us preview this game, including Charlie Walter, big-time Cincinnati guy. Right now, though, you may know him from Reds Live. That's the baseball team's pregame show, the Cincinnati Reds. He's also on WKPIX TV in San Francisco. I also have Chris Lowe, senior writer from ESPN covering college football. Andrew Bone from BamaInsider.com. Everyone here knows him. He's a recruiting expert. And Jeff Cameron from the College Sportsbook joins us, as always, for the Skins game of picking. And he's got a 2-game lead on me right now, so we're going to pick the bowl games today. Also, our buddy Reagan from R&R Cigars. I'm Mick Gillispie with Trey Yanity from Bama Insider to get you ready for the Crimson Tide at 12-1 and the Bearcats at 13-0. What is up, my man?
What is up, Mick? It is time. The wait is finally over. This is a great time of the year. We got Christmas, Thanksgiving just ended. We got New Year's around the corner. But, one negative, we got to wait for football. We got bowl season, but, Alabama typically isn't a part of the regular bowl season. Usually they're in the college football playoff like they are this year. This matchup's so different. It's Cincinnati. It's a Group of 5 school. This isn't a team that, we see in the playoff typically. We've never seen a Group of 5 team in the playoffs. So, a lot to get into tonight. Loaded show. If you're joining us on Bama Insider, hit that like button. If you're joining us on the radio waves, guys, thank you for being with us. Excited for this one. It's finally here. How are you doing, Mick? How was your Christmas?
Look, it was great. It was great. And I want to send you a shot of Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. And thank you for being here with me, Trey. And you mentioned it. We're on 6 to 8 the day before every single Alabama football game on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And you got to like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up. And then on radio, our flagship station, 100.5 FM, not XM, but FM, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and that's on Jocks 2 Radio. And then across the state of Alabama, including our good friends in North Alabama, Fox Sports Shoals, Roll Tide up there in Florence. Trey, I've been, like you said, waiting for this. I remember when Alabama didn't get a chance to play in the college football playoff every single year. I mean, I go way back. Your time, though, Alabama is in the championship game or the playoff every single year. They've done it again. They've only missed one so far.
Isn't that wild to think? I mean, the college football playoff, it's been going on since 2014. It was, Oregon, Ohio State, Florida State, and Alabama in the original one. And, since then, we've seen Alabama and almost every single one of them. Haven't seen the other teams. It's kind of been a revolving door. You've seen Oklahoma get in the mix, Clemson, obviously. We've seen, the Michigan States, the Washingtons, but every year it's been Alabama. This year, it's Cincinnati and Michigan, a first-timer as well. This is a different college football playoff in general. Alabama may have gone every year, but we heard it in the press conferences this week with the players. I think it was Phil Mathis, maybe DJ Dale kind of broke it down and said, it's a dynasty, and we're blessed to be a part of this. We love being a part of the success. But at the end of the day, we're a different team. We're our own team. This is 2021. We're young. We haven't won as much as, maybe everybody thinks that because we're a part of this dynasty. But overall, Alabama's ready to be here. They're determined. They're not looking at Cincinnati as this big underdog. And on the other side of that coin, Cincinnati's not looking at themselves as an underdog either. But, overall, Bama's back in it as we expected. 2 weeks ago, that might have sounded crazy to think that they would dominate Georgia the way they did and get this number 1 seed to be playing Cincinnati. But, they're here for a 7th time and, trying to get that national title, number 19 now.
Yeah, look, they're 5-1 in the first round of the playoffs, right? But the one loss came to Ohio State when Luke Fickell was their coordinator, so he was there when Alabama lost. And it was an Alabama team that kind of reminded me of this year's team where there were some weaknesses. I feel like the weaknesses at running back this year, that season, I felt like it was at quarterback with Blake Sims. And we'll see if Cincinnati has the personnel to exploit that or if Alabama has just gotten better like they played against Georgia in that game. And that kind of leads me to my next point here. The topic that I want to bring up to you, Trey, is who is the real Alabama? Is it the team that played Georgia and dominated offensively, defensively on the line? Or is it the team that struggled against Auburn, had to catch a lucky break to win the Iron Bowl? LSU and Florida came down to the end. Arkansas, likewise. Which team is it?
We're going to see. But I think at the end of the day, regardless of its, that Auburn team or the team we saw in the SEC title, this team still has a Heisman winner on it. It still has a guy that probably should have won the Blitnikoff Award. Probably the best defensive player in the country in Will Anderson, too. This team is still Alabama. They're still loaded. I said a minute ago that they're young. They're very young. And, you're going to have to see Kool-Aid McKinstry step up, Dallas Turner. Some of these younger players kind of get into the game and, get activated. And I think that's why at times this season we've seen two Alabamas, because this team is so young. And, we've preached it on our shows throughout the year. Give it time, let them kind of mesh. And I think we've seen some growth throughout the year, even in the low points, even, when it was Tennessee or LSU and they didn't have the biggest leader, A&M, even when they lost, we saw some growth in those games. And, it takes time with some of these younger players, no doubt. The injuries hurt. John Mechie not being there, Christopher Allen throughout the season, that hurts. And, the youth having to kind of be thrust into that role rather than naturally getting their chance isn't a great formula for success. But, as time goes on, you get one Alabama. You don't get the Alabama that played in the Auburn game, the Alabama played in Georgia. Once they mesh and once the youth gets that opportunity, I think you get the Alabama that you saw win the SEC title every week. You only need to get hot for these last few here if you put yourself in position. Alabama was in position. I think they're the hottest team in the country right now, obviously. They won the SEC title, and, what's going to stop them from staying hot, beating a Cincinnati team that they're better than, and, maybe beating a Georgia team that they've already dominated this season, or a Michigan team that, would provide a good test, but I think they could certainly beat as well.
Hey, Trey Anthony, I'm Mick Gillispie. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. Like and subscribe as you hang out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And don't forget, you're listening on radio. We appreciate you being here. All right, you mentioned it. Life without John Mechie. What's it going to be like today versus Cincinnati and their pass defense?
It's going to be hard. If John Mechie was playing in this game, it would be, a gauntlet. And people want to talk about Group of 5 in Cincinnati. And, this isn't the typical playoff team. This is a loaded Cincinnati team. And, you look at this defense, especially, you're going to see 2-3 guys go in the first round off of this defense. Pulling up their depth chart here, you talk about Ahmad Gardner, Smoke, I believe is his nickname, or Gas, rather, one of these crazy nicknames. Sauce. Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember. But, he's earned every bit of that. The guy hasn't allowed a touchdown all season long. I mean, he's been elite. He's been insane. I don't know if John Mechie would free up the field as much as Alabama, would see on Saturday regardless. But I think having him would certainly help, because this cornerback room is loaded for Cincinnati. You go down the list, you talk about Kobe Bryant, who's going to be wearing number 8 in honor of the legendary Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, on Saturday. He's an elite cornerback as well. So trying to throw on this secondary, trying to, kind of get in this defensive backfield is going to be a challenge for Alabama on offense. I think Alabama's, best chance without John Mechie is really just trying as many different guys as you can, really giving a guy like a Jai Hall his chance, or Ja'Cory Brooks, or Trayshawn Holden, or, even guys like Javon Baker that we haven't seen throughout the season. I think this is that game. It is Cincinnati. This is a great team, like I said, but, it isn't Georgia. It isn't maybe the best team that's left in the country. So you can try some things, get these receivers activated. But, it hurts with such a loaded cornerback room like Cincinnati has.
Quickly, the effect of Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone missing time because of COVID.
I think it hurts because, like we've talked about on this show, Bill O'Brien and Bryce Young have such a tight relationship, and it is so one-on-one. But I think offensively as a whole, other guys have stepped up in that room. And, Bryce is such a leader in himself. I think they're going to be okay. The offensive line worries me a little bit with Doug Marrone missing time, but from what we understand, they were able to get on Zoom, and it was almost like they were there this week. So I don't think it's going to affect anything too much. I think them being in person at this point, being there for the game, is going to make enough of a difference.
The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. Now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook. Alabama's number 1. They're taking on Luke Fickell in Cincinnati. How big is the difference between these two teams? We're going to get into that when we come back. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show returns right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, 1 collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artist, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And, of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show with Trey Yannity. I'm Mick Gillispie as we preview Alabama versus Cincinnati. Great to have you guys hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel or listening across the state of Alabama, including our flagship station, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Jocks Radio 100.5. We do this 9 to 11 before every single Alabama game on game day. All right, Trey, let's get into Nick Saban in Alabama, Cincinnati at 2:30 kickoff, as our show is brought to you by Yuengling Lager. Nick Saban has been a mainstay in the college football playoff as they take on Cincinnati. I mentioned it's the first team from the group of five to make the playoff. I'm just curious, talking rat poison, is this yummy rat poison or is this not yummy rat poison?
I don't think this is very yummy. I don't think it's very tasty at all, honestly. I mean, when you're the number one team in the country, you just dominated the team that everybody thought was going to win the national title. You have the Heisman winner and, really just the best team. There's not very much tasty rat poison lying around. I think for Cincinnati, yeah, I think it's delicious. I think this is, as much rat poison as they want. Nobody is talking about Cincinnati to win this game. I think it's a 2-touchdown spread in Vegas. So, for Cincinnati, yeah, eat it up. For Alabama, and I don't think, they would eat it regardless or even, worry about the headlines or the tweets or anything else or, what we're saying right now. But I do think that, it isn't good rat poison. Everybody thinks that Alabama is going to win this game by a lot. People think they're going to get out there and jump on Cincinnati's head. And I'm with them. I think Alabama is going to dominate this game. We'll get into that later in the show. But, as far as rat poison goes, yeah, this is another game where Alabama is the heavy favorite. And this time, it's not a Power 5 school that you're playing in the playoff. It's a group of 5 schools. So, the rat poison in and of itself presents some challenges. But, it's Alabama. They're not listening to all that.
Since we last went on the air, Bryce Young became the Heisman Trophy winner. He won the Heisman Trophy. He's the Heisman, right? Is he still going to be as focused as he was before that, having won the SEC championship game and the Heisman since we last saw him?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's Bryce Young. And, I don't think focus was ever the question coming into this season. I think my question marks came with just the size and, would his arm strength be able to handle it at this level? He's proven me wrong to the fullest extent. He won the Heisman. He was the best player in the country by a long shot this season. And, what makes him so great, too, is his mindset. He's not thinking about it like I'm better than my team or, I'm better than any other player in the country. He's just thinking about it like, hey, I'm going out here. I'm trying to win games. I would bet if you asked him, he would tell you he won the Heisman because of his offensive line or, because of his running backs or his wide receivers that set him up to make great plays. So, I think that to an extent, we're all human. I think your ego comes into play. And, you think about it probably at times. I'm the Heisman winner. I'm the best player in the country. But, it's Bryce Young. And, the fact that he was smiling on that last drive at Auburn, going down the field to try to keep the season alive tells you everything you need to know. He is cool as a cucumber and, isn't going to let the noise affect him.
Yeah, and look, he's one of the best of all times, but at Alabama, you got to win the national championship. You got to win the big game to be considered the best ever. So he's got an opportunity today against Cincinnati, and then, hopefully Alabama wins that, and then, he kind of puts his name, etches it in the record books. When you look at Cincinnati, though, Trey, they've got Desmond Ridder and Jerome Ford. And Jerome Ford, who played 2 years at Alabama, he's with the team for 2 years, said, I stop referring to me as an Alabama transfer. I'm a Bearcat.
I get it. I was sitting there during that interview thinking, is anybody going to ask this guy something, something else other than about Alabama? Because, he was a transfer, but he's made his legacy at Cincinnati, and he's dominated, to I think earn that right to not be asked about Alabama with every question. But I get it. This is the rematch. This is a chance for him to prove himself, why he should have stayed, or, why he should have got the playing time at Alabama originally. But, for Jerome Ford, I don't even think it's really like that. I think that, this is such a unique opportunity for his school and, for him to get the chance to play in the Cotton Bowl and on national TV while he's trying to get that draft stock up and everything else. I don't think he's going to let the emotions play into it too much. He's not a real, emotion heavy kind of guy, but it's a cool storyline and it's fun to think about. And, to think that there were guys on that team that are still on Alabama when he was there that, he's going to have to stand up against on the other side of the line or, look across the sideline and see, that's something like the Heisman Trophy we were just talking about. It's easy to say you're keeping it out of your head, but I think at times, you do let that kind of play into it a little bit. I think on the field, you run the football the same you would. You're not thinking about that when the adrenaline is pumping. But when the clock's ticking and you're looking up at the scoreboard, I think you are, letting the emotions play into it a little bit, getting passionate. I think that could be a good thing for Jerome Ford, maybe getting behind his teammates a little bit more or whatever the case may be. But, it's personal for Jerome Ford. It's not necessarily personal for Desmond Ridder or anybody else on this team, but, it means a little bit more for the running back that's going to be playing for the Bearcats on.
Yeah, look, and I'm curious to see some of these big matchups. Of course, Sauce Gardner got his nickname because he absolutely loved the sriracha sauce at Arby's. He would get the Arby's 4 for $4. He hasn't allowed a passing touchdown on anyone that he's been covering this year. And I'm guessing that you're going to see him matched up with Jamison Williams because of the fact that, John Mechie's out. Any matchups in this game that you're looking at, Trey, and going, you know what, I can't wait to kind of see that starting with those two going head-to-head?
Yeah, I mean, that is the matchup in this game. It's a premier quarterback against a premier wide receiver in the country. Anywhere, no matter the implications of the game, that is a fun matchup to watch, especially, when there's stuff like this on the line. That being said, I don't know if we see that many targets to that matchup. It's respect, to the defensive player in that situation. It's no disrespect to Jamison Williams, but, Gardner's been the best cornerback in the country this year at times. So I think maybe we look at, a matchup with a guy like Slade Bolden, on the inside there, maybe a tight end matchup of some form. But overall, that's going to be a fun one. Deep ball wise, Alabama has had success this year kind of late in the season, but I don't know if we see that tested too much. I think we see some plays over the middle and some out routes and stuff like that, some shorter plays in this game. They kind of had their bread and butter against Georgia when they went deep. I don't think that's going to be the style. You're playing two of the best cornerbacks in the country. It's not to say Nakobe Dean, didn't have it on his end in that Georgia game, but, Alabama hit a couple times. I don't know if we're going to see that tomorrow. Overall, this is a really good Cincinnati defense. I think they match up well pretty much all over the field. Their run defense doesn't scare me quite as much, as their pass defense does. So I think maybe you try to attack with that run back room, like we talked about at the top of the show. Is this Brian Robinson's opportunity, to kind of make a statement here, or even Trey Sanders? But, overall, the wide receiver versus CB versus DB matchups are just really good all over the field and on both sides, for Alabama too.
Any other matchup that you're looking at, though, maybe one-on-one? I mean, Will Anderson versus Desmond Ridder or something else? I mean, I know the Sauce Gardner versus Jamison Williams sticks out to me, but you got about, a minute left to just kind of tell me something that you're keeping an eye on for today's game.
Yeah, James Tunstall, the right tackle or left tackle. I need to check the depth chart. The tackle for Cincinnati, regardless, whichever side he lines up on, I'm interested to see his matchup with DJ Dale. That's a sleeper one. I know you guys aren't thinking about the trenches that much, this morning, but this is one that I'm kind of looking after because DJ Dale he brought that energy from what we saw in practice this week. Had a really good week from what we heard. So I'm interested to see that. Like you said, Will Anderson. In general, how he matches up against, that offensive line, what he can do when he gets in the backfield against Desmond Ridder, to see how Desmond Ridder can kind of try to escape that pressure. But overall, everybody, if nothing else, do not sleep on this Cincinnati team because we talk about the one-on-one matchups. We talk about a lot of guys just now that are going to be in the NFL next year. So this is a good team. They're undefeated for a reason. Group of 5, Power 5, whatever. This is a college football playoff game. Got to take it seriously.
Trey, will jump back on at the end of the show when we break down this matchup. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show presented by Tuscaloosa Hyundai. The Elantra, the Sinatra, or an SUV like the Tucson, tailgating doesn't get any better. We're going to get in depth about the Bearcats when we come back. My good buddy Charlie Walter from WPIX TV and Reds Live TV returns when we do. Don't go anywhere. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show previewing Alabama and Cincinnati coming up next.
Introducing Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Now available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, near Home 2 Suites, or Northport, next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, always presented by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery, and Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. We're going to talk Alabama and Cincinnati. That's the game to play for all the marbles. It'll take place 2:30 in Dallas, Texas at the Cotton Bowl. Alabama, the number 1 seed. Cincinnati, though, hasn't lost a game yet. And before we get to our guest to help us break down Cincinnati and what the Bearcats bring to the table, let me remind you that this segment is presented by Hotel Indigo right downtown in Tuscaloosa. They host the first ever rooftop bar in Tuscaloosa right there on the Black Warrior River. You can look across and see Northport. You can walk to campus, and football, basketball season's here now. And I'm telling you, it is fantastic. What's really cool about Hotel Indigos is you go across the country, all of them are unique. So the one in Tuscaloosa looks like Tuscaloosa. That's where I stay when I'm in town. And they treat you so well while you're there. The rooms are fantastic. They're clean. They're sanitized with the COVID going on. And again, the rooftop bar is really just fantastic. All right, let me bring in one of my good buddies and a longtime Bearcat. You may know him from Bally Sports in Cincinnati. You may know him from his time in Montgomery when he was an up-and-coming TV guy, now out in San Francisco. Charlie Walter. What's up, Charlie?
WSFA 12 News. That's where it all began. Speaking of that Screwball peanut butter whiskey, I'm going to need some of that for this game on Sunday, 12:30 out here Pacific time in San Francisco. Should be a fun game. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully a fun game from my perspective.
Well, you feel confident about this Bearcats team. I mean, let's go ahead and get into this. You feel like they have a chance to beat Alabama straight up. They're a 13.5-point underdog, but they come in with some real big weapons on this team. I mean, I would say their top 22 players, their starting guys, are really as good as anyone's.
And that's what I would say. When you look back, some people have the recency bias, even though it's not that long ago when they were 12-0 the last time, 13-0 the last time, and went up against Florida in the Sugar Bowl, and Tim Tebow and company absolutely pummeled them. It was a different Bearcats team. There was maybe one NFL player on that roster. Right now, you're looking at a roster full of guys at the 1s and 2s that'll be playing at the next level. Some guys that you haven't even heard of that I think are going to be playing on Sundays, whether it's as a 6th, 7th rounder or, as an undrafted free agent. But they got first rounders on this team. They have second rounders on this team. Desmond Ridder could be a day 1, day 2 guy, depending on his combine. Sauce Gardner could be the first cornerback off the board. The cornerback on the other side, Kobe Bryant, was the Jim Thorpe Award winner. Travis Kelce was actually a Cincinnati Bearcat back in the day. He wasn't even that great as a Cincinnati Bearcat. You know what he's doing now as the Chiefs. I think Josh Wiley is a similar guy, a guy that only has 350, 400 total yards on the season, 6 touchdown grabs. But I think he's a Sunday player as well and could be really good in the NFL. So this team's loaded with talent. How good are they? It's really tough to say because of that schedule. But again, you just saw Houston take down Auburn. You saw UCF take down Florida. It's tough to win every game, regardless of what division you're in, especially when it's the American. It's a step or two above the MAC. So it's tough to win every game, and they did that. And not only did they win, they handled just about every game. If you were betting on Cincinnati spreads this year, you were a happy camper.
Right. I paid attention to it. I lost on them a lot. I was expecting them to lose after the way they struggled against Navy and Tulsa, but they bounced back and had a really strong finish to the season. And I felt like it was Jerome Ford. When he was banged up, they weren't that good. And then as soon as he came back healthy, it gave Desmond Ridder that handoff option and then kind of opened up the offense. Is that the way you saw it?
Yeah, and how about Jerome Ford at Media Day the other day saying, I want people to stop calling me the Alabama transfer. I'm a Cincinnati Bearcat at this point. But Jerome Ford definitely was a little bit of that spark plug that once he was in there, things started shifting back the other way. But it's a midseason funk. It happens. They were up 16 points on Navy late in that game. And, it came down to the end there where I think they won by a couple of touchdowns. Even the Tulsa game, they were up a couple touchdowns late. They just didn't close the deal. And next thing you know, Tulsa's a few yards away from actually tying up that game late in the ball game. But pretty much from minute 1 to minute number, however many hundreds of minutes they played this season, it was never in doubt that they were going to lose a game, even against Notre Dame, even against Indiana, even against whoever it may be. They pretty much went into the second half every single time, went into that fourth quarter with a pretty comfortable cushion. They let their guard down late. They didn't dominate teams every snap, but for the most part, they went out there and they just got the job done. And that's why I'm excited to see what they do against Alabama, because they played down to their competition at times. Let's see how they play up to their competition.
Luke Fickell's done a fantastic job with the Bearcats since taking over. And, I mean, how crazy is it that they're the best team in the state of Ohio this year?
I mean, yeah, I would love to see them go against Ohio State. The last time that Cincinnati was claiming that they had a shot against Ohio State, we lost like 43-0. So we'll see when we're on the stage with the big boys. It should be fun against Alabama. I don't think that 13.5-point spread is right. I think it should be closer to about 5.5. But what do I know? Vegas. I'm out in San Francisco. But it's interesting because you go before Fickell, and it was Tommy Tuberville, right? Get a job, go to hell. That was the last coach, and he left the program in ruins. Fickell comes in. People didn't want him because the only thing they knew about Fickell was he was the only coach to lose to Michigan in the last 15 years or whatever. So they're like, oh, this guy had one stint as a head coach, and he had the worst Ohio State team in the last 25, 30 years or whatever. Clearly, he's come in and instilled a culture on a blue-collar mentality, on toughness, on finding blue-chip players from the city of Cincinnati, from Indianapolis, from the tri-state area that were overlooked by Ohio State and some of these other teams, and has groomed them into really good players. I mean, they got NFL players right now all over this roster, as I mentioned. But going back to it, what's so crazy to me, and what most Alabama fans may not realize, but some probably do because they're all invested in the college football scene. Cincinnati was a terrible program not that long ago. Before Brian Kelly got there in 2009, they were an abomination. I mean, Alabama's got more titles in the last 15 years than Cincinnati's got bowl wins, probably. Cincinnati's never won a BCS bowl game. The couple times they've been there, they've been laughed off the field. They were talking about going down to 1AA as late as 2000. So, I mean, you had to go to the football games in order to get the basketball tickets to see Kenyon Martin. And then when you got there, you'd show up and you'd leave. You couldn't get anyone to go with you. So, I mean, this is a program that has not been in this position before, and I'm excited to see how they respond against Alabama. But if last year is any indication, going up against Georgia, I think they'll be okay, because I think Fickell's a good coach. And again, it comes down to the fact that this isn't some random UTSA team that happened to go 12-0. This is a team with NFL players littered throughout the field on offense and defense, and a defense that doesn't allow teams to score. What I'm worried about in this one is the line. I think Cincinnati's defensive line is going to be okay to get some pressure on Young. The question is going to be, is Cincinnati's offensive line physical enough to handle these monsters on Alabama's defense? Although I don't know if they're as monstrous as years past. You have a better indication of that than I do.
Well, look, you got Will Anderson, who might be the best defensive player in the country. I mean, he's in the backfield a lot. Dallas Turner, the freshman that's just kind of come on strong. Drew Sanders, Phil Mathis. I mean, there's some guys that'll get after the quarterback. But I guess that I'm looking at Desmond Ridder in Cincinnati, and I'm thinking that the way that you would counteract that is to try to play fast and with pace and speed things up, 2-minute offense style, and try to just keep Alabama off balance. Is that something that you think Cincinnati can do and would do?
That's going to be interesting. They've gotten to the quarterback a good bit this year. They've stopped the run, and no one really, even a team like Notre Dame, that when I saw them line up against Cincinnati, I was like, this is going to be bad. That Notre Dame's the bigger physical team. How are we going to stop a tight end like Michael Mayer? And they have the secret sauce there, whether it's the two defensive backs, the two cornerbacks that are two of the best in the country and will be playing on Sunday. You mark my words. The safeties are really good, especially Brian Cook. I like him a lot. Joe DeBlanco's a good linebacker. I still have questions if he is, good enough to handle some of these guys from Alabama. We'll see. It's really tough to see in the American because there is such a talent discrepancy, or at least you think there is, with that preconceived bias coming in. But Myjai Sanders is a guy that I think if he can get to the quarterback, Curtis Brooks too, another guy in the defensive line, if those two can get to the quarterback and if they can handle Alabama's run game, I think they're going to be okay, because Alabama, although they can pass on anyone, they got the Heisman winner. Jamison Williams is yet to be stopped. Sauce Gardner is going on Jamison Williams, and Sauce Gardner has never given up a collegiate football touchdown. In fact, people don't even throw his way because he's so damn good. So he'll get maybe one target every 2-3 games. So I'm interested to see, let's get the best receiver in the country possibly against the best cornerback in the country. And that's going to be a really fun matchup there. One more thing I did want to add, because I don't know how much time we have. An X factor in this game is Cincinnati's kicking game. It's atrocious. It's the most disgusting kicking game you've ever. I'm talking from 24 yards out. It's not a gimme. This guy, I don't even know his name. I shouldn't know his name because they've been shuffling in and out throughout the year. But I'm telling you, look up these stats. They are 50% at best, and anything over 40% is 40 yards is cross your fingers. I mean, it's bad, and that could be a wild card.
All right. Well, hey, Charlie Walter, our good buddy and former news anchor in Montgomery, now in Cincinnati for baseball season, and San Francisco all the time. Great to hang out with you today, Charlie, and can't wait to watch this game.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know that the Southern hospitality is real, but I'm sure that the chatter is going to pick up on Friday, because I know Cincinnati feels like they actually have a shot to win this game. And I don't know if Alabama fans share that same sentiment, but we'll see. It'll play out on the field. Should be fun. Let's cross our fingers that old man COVID does not get in the way.
Yeah, don't even bring that up. He's Charlie Walter. I'm Mick Gillispie. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. And when we come back, we're going to keep on breaking this thing down. Alabama and Cincinnati, the Cotton Bowl, 2:30, and we're previewing it right here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel and Jocks Radio all across the state of Alabama as well.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, one collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artist, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, and always brought to you by Yingling Lager, America's oldest brewery. Guys, as you hang out with us, if you're listening on radio, Jocks 2, that's our flagship station. We do this before every Alabama game on 100.5 FM, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, 69,000 powerful watts of sports talk every single day. We appreciate you being here. Maybe you're listening from around the state, like our good friends do up in Florence, Alabama. Roll Tide to you guys as well. And if you're watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up. You know the guy that's on the screen right now. And for those of you that are listening, you know this voice. His name is Andrew Bone from Bama Insider. He's our recruiting guru. We're going to talk about Alabama's signing class. But first, let me remind you that this segment is brought to you by our good friends at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. Here's Barry Buckner.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Let me tell you something. He's an honest guy. He's a great guy, Barry Buckner, and they will take care of you over at Tuscaloosa Hyundai. All right, let's bring him on the show. Here he is. Andrew Bone helped us on National Signing Day, and for those of you that weren't here, or if you were, you know that we were on all day long as Alabama pulled in one of the best, if not the best, signing classes in the country for the early signing period. Bone, give us a recap of what happened when Alabama, again, proved that Nick Saban has the muscle when it comes to recruiting on that signing day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was another fantastic day for the Crimson Tide. I think that, going into the week, there's all these, expectations, whether they're high, whether they're low. You just don't really know what's going to happen. We kind of expected some things that were going to happen, and obviously we saw some things that we weren't expecting, like Travis Hunter flipping his commitment from Florida State to Jackson State. We saw Shamar James recommit to Florida. Even though everyone thought it was between Alabama and Georgia. So, for Alabama, I thought it was a great day just because they were able to get the majority of guys that we thought they were going to get. They ended up losing Jaleel Skidder kind of late in the process, but I didn't think that was that big of a deal just because they were able to get, two other tight end commitments, including Amari Niblack and Elijah Brown. So overall, great recruiting class for Alabama.
Yeah, and Alabama, according to Rivals, they finished ahead of Texas A&M, right?
During the early signing period, they did. Texas A&M has added a couple commitments since then. So Texas A&M currently sitting with that number one recruiting class in the country. So it's Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia. I think Georgia is going to have a chance to move ahead of Alabama. just because they still have some guys that they're still recruiting. Whereas Alabama's not really recruiting any more high school offensive or high school players overall. So I don't really see them adding any more in this class. Now they may get another transfer or two, which doesn't count towards the rankings. Now, if you wanted to include Elias Ricks and Jahmyr Gibbs in the rankings, I think you could easily say that Alabama has the top recruiting class in the country, but they don't. So, I still think Alabama fans are pretty excited about the future and the guys that are in this class currently.
Yeah, and it's weird how things have changed so much, right? I mean, it used to be in February that you had National Signing Day. Now you have the early signing period. But the transfer portal and the one-time transfer exception has really, I don't want to say it has transformed the recruiting, but it certainly has changed it a lot. And Alabama took advantage of that last year with Henry To'oTo'o, Jamison Williams. This year, you mentioned it, 2 guys already that come in that you expect to have an impact. Could Alabama go back into that transfer portal again and add more guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to kind of depend on who's going to be in the transfer portal. Yeah, you got to go after a guy that you feel like is going to come in and contribute right away, that can help your program out. Just because there might be a really talented player in the transfer portal, that doesn't necessarily mean Alabama's going to go after him. It's got to be somebody that it's at a position of need and somebody that they feel like that can come in and contribute right away. They're not going to waste a scholarship on somebody that is going to come in and sit behind a returning starter or 2 returning starters. So you got to go after somebody that they feel like can come in, contribute, and that's what they've done the last few years in the transfer portal, and it's worked out really well. And I think that's why you see the success that these guys are having that have come to Alabama from the transfer portal. I think that's when other guys enter the transfer portal, they see who's going from one school to another and having a lot of success. And I think that's helping them make their decision a little bit easier. So, Elias Ricks coming from LSU to Alabama, obviously he's played in a lot of big games, played in the SEC, has had a lot of success in the SEC. So I think he's going to have a great chance come in, contribute early on. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think most Alabama fans would do anything to get Gibbs on the field this weekend against Cincinnati on Friday, because you just can't you can't get a transfer in and play them right away. They gotta wait. They can't play until next season. But Jahmyr Gibbs had an unbelievable season for Georgia Tech. Has been outstanding for the Yellow Jackets for the last 2 years. So bringing him in, adding him to that running back room, there's going to be a lot of talent there. But I think he's got a chance to really make a big impact on the team next season.
Let's talk about the winners and losers so far as signing goes. Auburn ended up having a better class than we anticipated. Tennessee did well. You mentioned Texas A&M. You even mentioned that that Jackson State and Deion Sanders got the best player in the country, right? How did NIL affect? I know with that situation, Barstool Sports paid the guy like $1.5 million to go to school there. I mean, did that happen? And is that what we're looking at now as far as the future of recruiting?
Well, I think that's that was at least the rumor that was floating around. I don't know if that was actually
confirmed.
Confirmed, but yeah, I mean, I think NIL is certainly a big part of it these days. You can't actively recruit a player and say, all right, you need to come here because this is the deal that we have set up for you. I mean, you still going to have to get your own deals. The school can't help you get NIL deals, and I think that's kind of the biggest concern about it right now is there's reports that are coming out that this school or that school is getting this kid this deal and that deal, and that's why these kids are going there. We can't necessarily do that. So I think that's kind of the hiccup that that's kind of the problem right now with the NIL. But I think that with Alabama, you see the all the kids that are tweeting out, whether they got a Bojangles deal or a Bitcoin deal or whatever it may be. And, I think a lot of, anybody that is recruited by Alabama understands the program, the brand, what Alabama can do for you in terms of, NIL deals. But, there's a lot of programs out there that are able to do a lot of different things now that they weren't able to do. I mean, you're going to have more programs that, weren't having success on their recruiting trail, now going to have a lot more recruiting success on the trail. Schools like Alabama and Ohio State, Georgia, things aren't going to fall off too much for them. It's still going to be, pretty much the same. But, you look at, USC, obviously, with Lincoln Riley, that's a big hire, but they also have a ton of NIL deals out in Los Angeles, obviously. I'm still kind of waiting on Georgia Tech to make a big move with with NIL deals, being in the Atlanta market. And obviously, Mario Cristobal being down in Miami, I think Miami's going to be able to, really get some great NIL deals, or their players are going to get some great NIL deals down there as well. But it's going to be interesting to kind of see how it all moves forward, because this was the first year we kind of saw like the wild, wild west this year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just kind of doing whatever they want. I think there's going to be some more rules in place over the course of the next year, and there's going to be some changes, but I don't know if we're going to see every offensive lineman at Texas get $50,000, or 10 players at Ohio State get sponsored cars. I don't know if things are going to change, but you got to imagine that there's going to be some added rules in place this time next year.
All right. Well, Andrew Bone playing hurt today, but definitely came on and did his thing. And you're always presented by Andrew J. Bone Realty.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. A little under the weather. I have tested negative for flu, COVID, and strep. So at least I'm negative, but I don't really have much of a voice. Andrew J. Bone Real Estate Group. If you're looking to buy or sell any real estate, residential real estate in the Tuscaloosa or Birmingham markets, please be sure to give us a consideration, a call. You can give us a call at 205-531-5577.
You look behind Bone, you look behind me, and you see those Daniel A. Moore prints. Let me throw that one up there. That's unrivaled, right? That was last year's national championship game print, and it is on sale at newlifeart.com. And you can go now and pick up Crimson Connection. That's the 2021 Heisman Trophy winning Bryce Young pre-order print, and it is available right now as well. And so it's holiday time. If you got some Christmas cash and you want to spend it, go to newlifeart.com. Thanks, Bone, for hanging out, and we'll talk to you again, hopefully, before one more game.
All right, Mick. Thanks a lot.
More Bama Insider Tailgate Show, the second hour of the show, right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yuengling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The Lookout Bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, always brought to you by Yuengling Lager. We talk Alabama and Cincinnati, number 1 and number 4 in the college football playoff. And this segment brought to you by Sevierville.
The best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Great time to check out visitsevierville.com. All the great things going on in the Smoky Mountains. And a guy that doesn't live too far from there is Chris Lowe from ESPN, covering the SEC like no other and college football. And our friend Chris, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. How you been, man?
Doing great. It's good to be with you, and it's good to sort of dive right in now. COVID willing, Mick, to a steady stream of bowl games, man. It's sort of bummer, when games get canceled, and we're going through this again for a second year. But I've got my fingers crossed that now as we dive into the rest of this week, that most of these games are going to be played.
Yeah, let's talk COVID. I mean, it has canceled some of the games. Other games have been played on schedule. We got new protocols as far as what happens if teams aren't able to play because of COVID. Alabama's players are fine, but right now they are working and getting ready for the game with very limited involvement from Bill O'Brien, their offensive coordinator, and offensive line coach Doug Marrone, 2 former NFL head coaches.
And they've had a little bit of experience with this last year. Nick Saban did coach the week of the Iron Bowl, actually, did it from home. So I don't know that this is brand new for Alabama and the staff. No, you got your coordinator and your offensive line coach aren't there now. I think it helps to have Joe Pendry there. Joe knows that program. Nobody's closer to Nick in the profession than Joe Pendry. They worked together forever. And I don't know that Nick trusts anybody more in football than he does Joe Pendry. And Joe's been there this week. They're in Dallas working with the offensive line. They do expect to have Bill and Doug both back by the game. They've been very involved, on Zoom and meetings and that kind of thing. So I think this is a team, again, everybody went through it last year. There are a lot of teams that had to go through situations where coaches were meeting virtually with players and going through staff meetings via Zoom. So I don't know if this is a huge deal or a huge distraction. It's a distraction, Mick, but I don't think it's one of those things that really is just a killer going into the game. But I do think having Joe there and his track record, the fact that he's coached offensive line on big stages and been with Nick for so long is a huge help for Bama this week.
He's Chris Lowe from ESPN as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel or listen across the state, including our flagship station, Jocks 2 Radio, 100.5, Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. Getting ready for Alabama and Cincinnati college football playoff. Chris, so much has changed since we talked last. Who would have thought that Alabama would have thumped Georgia in the SEC championship game? They'd be the number 1 seed after Georgia demolished the competition all the way through. And it looked like Alabama probably wouldn't even make the playoff. And now they're the odds-on favorite to win. And they've been led by a Heisman Trophy candidate and eventual winning quarterback in Bryce Young.
You know what, Mick, I believe that Alabama, as much as we all talked, and I was guilty as anybody about, well, this is not the same Alabama. Alabama is not as good as they've been in the past. You start looking back and sort of breaking it down and talking to people in the pros. This team is immensely talented. Now, are they going to have 5 or 6 guys on offense go in the first round next draft? No. But over the next couple of drafts, they might, when you start throwing Bryce Young in there. So I think we overreacted to the fact that there were some hiccups this year. They had some games where they just didn't play well. Some things, I was talking to Coach Saban earlier this year, some things that happened to him that we haven't seen happen, some uncharacteristic things like having field goals blocked or, having some issues in special teams, not tackling well on defense in certain games, not running the ball at times well. But one thing they've done is when they've had to produce, and certainly in the biggest game of the year, biggest stage of the year, they played their best football. And I think, again, it goes back to sort of the standard of the program, the staff. And we were talking about Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone a minute ago. I think you saw their value as former NFL head coaches in that Georgia game, how well they adjusted to Georgia's pressure. They knew where the pressures were coming from. They put Bryce Young in a position to get rid of the football and do what he does best, and really completely, I thought, outcoached Georgia in that game, across the board. But I do think that when you look at Bama's talent across the board, they're as good as anybody in the country. And maybe because Alabama, Mick, was so good last year and so dominant and won so many games with ease, seemingly, maybe we all overreacted as this season went on and just said, well, maybe this isn't the same Bama. Well, I mean, they're going to have some games. I mean, it's not like they're just this juggernaut who's never going to lose. And I think when they lost to A&M, we're like, okay, well, maybe this is the year that they don't, they just don't do it. But I tell you, I was in Atlanta for that game, and they absolutely steamrolled Georgia and were confident and played that way. And I think because of that, will play just as well in the playoff.
Yeah, and look, they're a big favorite over Cincinnati, 13.5, 14-point favorite over Luke Fickell and the Bearcats, who have only lost to Georgia in the last 2 seasons. How do you see the game taking place between Alabama and Cincinnati? What do you like about the Bearcats, and can they give Alabama some trouble?
Yeah, well, I tell you, Cincinnati's got 5 or 6 guys that will play in the pros, Mick. So, I mean, don't feel too sorry for the Bearcats. I mean, yeah, they don't have as many 5-star players, or they haven't stacked up top 3 and top 4 recruiting classes like the Tide have. But you look across their roster, there's 5 or 6 guys I feel pretty confident will play in the NFL to some degree. So they're probably more talented than they've been given credit for. A very confident team, a team that is used to winning, a team much like Bama a couple of times this year has found ways to win when they didn't play their best football. And they've won 23 of their last 24 games going back to the end of the 19th season. And as you just pointed out, the only game they lost was to a Georgia team last year that's pretty similar to the Georgia team this year in terms of personnel, and they lost that game at the gun on a 53-yard field goal. So I don't think they'll be intimidated against Alabama. Now, can they hold up in the line of scrimmage? When it gets into the third and fourth quarter, do they have the kind of depth, quality depth that Bama does? No. Can they hit some chunk plays down the field? Because I don't think they line up and just pound Alabama. That's going to be critical. I mean, Desmond Ritter's got to make some plays with his legs. He's got to get the ball down the field, and they've got to make some of those explosive plays. So that's the thing I watch for, how they hold up in the line of scrimmage, one, and I'm talking about the Bearcats, and two, can they make some plays down the field where they're not having to constantly drive the football?
It's Chris Lowe from ESPN hanging out with us here on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we get you set for a 2:30 kickoff from Dallas. Alabama against Cincinnati. Winner goes to Indianapolis to play for the national championship. Of course, the Crimson Tide are the SEC champs. The other game taking place will be later on tonight. That'll be Michigan taking on Georgia. I look at this Georgia team, Chris, and I think they're really dangerous. That all of a sudden, now they're the one getting the yummy rat poison, as Nick Saban would call it. No one thinks they can win a game. And I just feel like this is, for me personally, and I've talked about it on the show already, I just feel like this matchup sits so well with the way that Georgia is built and the way that Michigan is built for Georgia to be able to stop the run and score a lot of points.
Yeah, well, where did Bama exploit Georgia? It's secondary. I mean, they were able to get the ball to Mechie and Jameson Williams down the field, protected well enough to do that. They threw it quickly. And that's really not – Michigan has not been a team that just absolutely destroys you down the football field. They're more of a traditional, let's run the football, we'll take our shots when we need to. And that has sort of been what Georgia has feasted on in its defensive front seven this year. They just don't let you do that. They stop the run. They make you get, they put you in third and long situations. And that's where I think it could be difficult for Michigan. Now, I do think physically Michigan is pretty good. I do think that their defensive front seven, we saw this happen in the Bama-Georgia game, but Aiden Hutchinson, those guys, can they get to Stetson Bennett? Can they keep him from getting into any kind of rhythm and really put the onus on that Georgia running game? I'm sure that's what they're going to try to do. But Bennett showed in that Alabama game that, when you got to him, put some pressure on him, that he's capable of making mistakes. Now, he is mobile. He can run around and do some things with his feet. Can that sort of counter the kind of pressure Michigan is going to put on him? I don't know. But this is a game I really think is going to be one – it's going to be determined in my mind if Georgia can keep from happening in their defensive secondary, because I do think, Mick, that's where they're vulnerable. And we saw that. Kirby Smart told me that this year, that they've been able to hide some deficiencies in their secondary with how good they were up front. But can they keep that from happening, and keep Michigan from making those big plays? And if they do, and Michigan sort of got to beat them up front, physically run the football, I think it's a long day for the Wolverines.
All right, Chris, final question for you. And I guess it's just more of what you're working on. What do you got going on? Where can people find your work? And I know with all of these games going on in college football, you're really busy.
Yeah, and it's a little different, with sort of the COVID moving back in and the access. A lot of the access now, Mick, is via, Zoom and virtual. But you can find me at CeeLo ESPN, and just a lot of updates on the playoff games and what eventually is going to be the national championship game. I guess we're all, those of us in the South, the SEC footprint, are maybe anticipating in a little bit of a rematch. Georgia and Alabama and Indy. And I know maybe out west and the Midwest, people might grimace at that, but I still think they're the two best teams in college football, and I wouldn't mind one bit seeing them go at it again 2 times in a month. And because I do the whole idea of Georgia getting another shot at Alabama, and then the other side of that is Alabama potentially beating Georgia twice in a month. Can you imagine how long and rocky that offseason would be in Athens, Georgia, if Kirby Smart loses to Nick Saban for a second time in a month in the money game? You talk about things changing quickly in college football. Think about where Georgia was in early November. And if that does indeed happen, how restless those Georgia fans will be over the next 6 months.
Going to be really interesting to see how this college football playoff shakes out. Always great to talk to our good buddy Chris Lowe from ESPN. Guys, let me remind you that this is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show presented by Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the Elantra, the Sinatra, or an SUV like the Tucson. Tailgating doesn't get any better. We'll be right back as we preview Alabama and Cincinnati. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show rolls on right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, one collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artists, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You've heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
The world-famous Floribama has been serving up the good times and good music since 1964. And after 57 years, we're not even close to slowing down. There's live music 365 days a year and big events all year long, including the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us on the line November 4th through the 14th for a music lovers event like no other. You'll hear the stories behind the songs from the songwriters themselves. It's a full 10 days of incredible entertainment. Make plans to join us and get all the info online at frankbrownsongwriters.com.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
In Dallas for the Cotton Bowl, and it's the first round of the college football playoff. Alabama, number 1 again after their SEC championship win against Georgia. Cincinnati, though, the only team that's undefeated in the field right now, and the first group of 5 team to ever make the college football playoff, as you well know. So Alabama will have their hands full today as they take on Cincinnati. I want to remind all of you guys that are watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel to like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up. We appreciate all you guys that are in the comments section right now. And if you're listening on our flagship station, Jocks 2, That's 100.5 FM, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, 69,000 powerful watts of Alabama football today. And across the state, we appreciate you being there and hanging out with us as well. Hey, this segment's brought to you by the good people at Pearl River Resort. Let me throw it on there for you. Look at that. That's the, as you are watching online right now, you can see this. And if you can't, you're just listening to the music. But when you go to Pearl River Resort and you put $50 on the sports book, you play Dancing Rabbit, their golf course, which is the Augusta that you can play for just $25. What a deal. And as I bring on Jeff Cameron, I do this to you every single time, Jeff. I know that you're with Florida State, the team that you cover normally, out of things. You're going to play some golf and watch college football. So when you look at a course like that, I'm sure you get excited.
Dancing Rabbit looks better every time you bring me on. Every time I think I got to get to this course. And I don't mind putting $50 down on the sports book either, Mick, as you well know. So, yeah, absolutely. It's going to be our time soon, buddy. I'm coming up there, cigars, little Yingling, and what was the shot we were going to do?
Screwball, peanut butter whiskey.
There you go. Let's do it. I'm in for all of this, buddy. Let's spend a long weekend having a good time gambling and probably eating too much and having too much fun on the golf course as well.
No doubt. He's Jeff Cameron. You know him from the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 in Tallahassee, Sirius XM host where he talks golf, warchant.com, which is one of the best Florida State sites that's out there, and then the college sports book where you talk about all the great things going on in the world of college sports. All right, Jeff, you got a 2-game lead after another big week. You're pulling away for the championship belt right now. I've kind of started to hit the skids a little bit, but the funny thing is that we both took Georgia and Alabama on our show. I'm a big Bama guy. I'm a grad. I do the show. Yeah. That to me was the big surprise last time that we talked.
It's been fun, Mick, and I see you setting me up for this monumental collapse. I have a 2-game lead, and Mick tells everybody that I'm pulling away. Listen to this guy trying to set me up. I'll tell you something. That was one of the most impressive performances by a quarterback, Bryce Young, that we've ever seen against a defense that I think is really legit. They were made to look silly, Georgia was, but they are legit, and yet Alabama shredded that team. That was something to behold. I know a lot of Alabama fans obviously listening right now. They're going to be pretty proud. Listen, Alabama achieves a lot each and every year. We know that. But some of these wins have to mean more than others. And when you're a significant underdog and you've looked shaky, let's just admit it. This is an Alabama team that lost a lot, Mick. I'm not telling you anything you don't know and that all the fine Alabama fans don't know. But looked bad against Florida in the second half, looked bad against LSU, Arkansas, mustered 3 points in regulations against Auburn. I mean, it was hard to fathom that was the team that was going to roll in and dominate offensively the way they did. So you're right. That was something to behold.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that game before you get off here, but exactly. I mean, look, I'm still shocked by it, but I should have never, ever doubted the great one, Nick Saban, because when, just like Georgia, I mean, I found out the hard way that at Alabama is still the champ. 29 times they've won the SEC title. All right, let's talk about the SEC, though, Jeff. Not doing so well in bowl season. You've got Ole Miss versus Baylor. Let's start with that game. Baylor is a 1.5 point underdog. Ole Miss ended up 10-2. This is the Sugar Bowl. So Ole Miss was the biggest Alabama fan outside of Alabama fans because they needed Alabama to win so that you got Georgia and Alabama in the college football playoff, and that allowed them to slide down to New Orleans for this game.
Fun game. I love this game. First things first, right? You always got to know if you're a bettor, who's playing.
Yeah.
These days in the bowl games, who's playing, right? Matt Corral is playing. He's, that's important. They have the 4th-ranked offense in the country. They're averaging over 500 yards per game for Baylor. By the way, 4-1 straight up and 3-2 against the spread in games decided by 7 points or less. So this Vegas thinks it's going to be a very close game, right? So that might be an interesting number. I don't think it will be. And even though Aranda's a great coach, I like Ole Miss's offense here to get this done. I think they pull away late. I'm willing to give the point there. Give me Baylor to win the game. Ole Miss to win the game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this one. I look at this and I'm like, I know the SEC has looked trashed in this playoff, or bowl season, but you're talking about 13 teams. A lot of those teams weren't that good. And then you have all of these players that are opting out and transferring, and Texas A&M didn't have enough players to play. They really didn't have a quarterback. I just think they didn't want to be embarrassed. But whatever the reason is, I think that Ole Miss is excited to be there. They were pulling for Alabama so that they could be in this game. Lane Kiffin is sticking around. Yeah, they lost their offensive coordinator, but I think they'll be motivated. I think that they're a good team. Matt Corral's going to want to leave with a win there. And I'm with you. I'm taking the Rebs because I just feel like that motivation in this bowl season is a big part of having success.
It's the biggest thing, Mick. You're nailing it. It's the biggest thing. Do you want to be there? Or are your stars playing? Or did they opt out? That's what you're asking yourself. Really quick thing to note for bettors out there. If you don't know which side of the fence to go on in this game and you don't want to trust Mick or I, that's fine. But watch the game early on and see if Baylor can run it. They want to limit possessions. They want to run the ball. They want to play a shortened game. If they're able to run the ball, you don't have to take a side, but you can start hitting that under 55 pretty quick if Baylor's able to run it because they're going to eat up clock. So just something to look at if you want to live bet a game. See if Baylor can run and shorten the game, because if they can, you'd probably go under the 55 there.
Very good point. Second game we're going to get into, Utah against Ohio State, right? That's the Rose Bowl. Now, it's a 4-point spread last time I looked, and I just wanted to check and make sure that I'm right, because this line seems awful low to me. Yeah, I know that Ohio State lost to Michigan their last time out, and they have to live with that, right? I mean, that they're going to have to wait an entire year to beat Michigan again, something that they've made a habit of. They lost to Oregon, and Oregon lost to Utah twice, right? So why would they be an underdog? Well, it's because they're a better team. They're going to have better players than Utah. They're going to go into this game with something to prove. They've had to sit around and wait and wait and wait for this opportunity. Michigan being in the college football playoff is why they're there. I think Utah is really good too. They hit their stride, but I just see Ohio State. I'm giving up the 4 in this one, Jeff. I think they're going to be ready to go. And I think that this is a game that even with 2 of their best receivers, out, right? I still think they're going to have enough to win.
That was what I was worried about initially, right? I wanted to see whether or not Garrett Wilson was going to play. He's not. I wanted to see if Olave was going to play. Don't forget, no Haskell Garrett at defensive tackle either for Ohio State. So that had me concerned. Maybe that's what Vegas is looking at here. I agree with you. I think the number is an interesting one. Here's why I'm really interested. First ever Rose Bowl for Utah. They care deeply about trying to win the Rose Bowl. This is going to be a war. But I think it's 37-30 Ohio State. So I'll take the Buckeyes with you, Mick. I know you need me to start picking the other way here on some of these, but I'm in agreement with you, buddy. I just think it's a great game, but I'm going 37-30 Ohio State. And if I get that on the nose, I don't know if the Timeout Lounge there in Pearl River will give me a free drink or something, but I'm lobbying for it.
I'll make sure that they do. You'll get a free drink if you hit that on the nose at Pearl River Resort, who brings this segment every week. All right, here's a game that is I felt like it was worth putting on here this week. Iowa versus Kentucky. It's a 3-point Iowa versus Kentucky. Kentucky giving up 3 somehow.
I don't know how. Iowa's better than Kentucky. Iowa's going to win the game. There's my pick. It's over. Iowa. I don't get this line. I saw it earlier. I was like, that can't be right. And then but give me Iowa, man. I like Iowa. I don't think Kentucky's going to score.
Look, I'll say this. This is why I'm taking Kentucky. So we're going to differ this time.
Oh, here we go.
Is that Mike Stoops is the coach, right? And then and I want to be like Tom Rinaldi, and I want to tell you about how he put his Iowa jersey in his dad's coffin when he died. Right. That they have this tie to Iowa. It's like a special place to them. This coaching family, and that it's more important to him to win this game than any game that he's coached ever. Right? Iowa, they were so bad against Nebraska, but they still won the game. And I guess that shows you just how stinky Nebraska was this year. You remember that one where Nebraska was up big? Yeah. And then they just coughed it up at the end. And every week. Yeah. And I took them in the in the championship game to cover the big spread against Michigan. Nah, they didn't do that. They laid an egg. And I think that this is another one where they're going to have a tough time scoring. Yeah, they were number 2 in the country, but Kentucky was in the top 10 as well. I think because of Mike Stoops' want for this game so bad, I think they're going to figure out a way to win it.
Well, then I'm glad we're on opposite sides. We've got one different there. I would nominate this game as unwatchable. Now, I'll I'm going to tell you something, though. At the end of the year, I watch every football game, and I hold on to it as if it's the last time I'm ever going to see football, because we all know that when the games stop, that long drought between seasons is almost interminable. So I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to do so holding my nose. Neither of these teams have a quarterback. Neither of these teams can score. This is going to be ugly. Mick, it's 9-6. I'll take
the under.
You got Kentucky. Yeah, there you go.
Take the under. Control football. All right, Oklahoma State, the team that had they beaten Baylor would have made the college football playoff over Cincinnati, I believe. And Notre Dame, the team that lost to Cincinnati and kept them out of the college football playoff. They only had one loss this year. Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl giving up 2.5.
I like the game a lot. Let the Marcus Freeman era begin. I love him as a defensive coordinator. Here's the thing. Remember going back to the motivations? Did you see the video, Mick, after Notre Dame announced that the search was over and they were elevating Marcus Freeman, the defense coordinator, to head coach at Notre Dame? And he walked into that locker room minutes after he signed that deal, and there were tears in the eyes of the Notre Dame's players. They were jumping up and down. I think they love the guy. And I think they're going to want to start his coaching career as a head coach off on the right foot. I think it's a great game. It's a fun game. I've been watching the line on this game. I love Jalen Warren, the running back at Oklahoma State. I think it's a physical contest, but I'm going to take Notre Dame here just because I think they're motivated. I really do. I think they're going to care deeply about winning this football game.
Mike Gundy's good at blowing the opportunities to get to the championship, but this isn't one. I mean, they're just playing a Notre Dame team. As goofy as Brian Kelly has looked at LSU, he's gone now. And Notre Dame should have hired Luke Fickell to run their program, or somebody that came in with a lot more of a resume, maybe somebody that actually was a head coach of a football team before. But that's not the case, and you're exactly right. I saw that video, and I thought in 3 years when Notre Dame's back to, maybe losing 3 or 4 games a year, they're going to wish that they had gone out and gotten a proven head coach to coach the team. So I say it starts right now. I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I also love the fact that I'm getting 2.5 points.
You can have those 2.5. We got back-to-back games in which we differ. By the way, to your point, I think they would have hired Luke Fickell if he wasn't busy coaching in the playoffs. So I kind of feel like they felt the need to press on and salvage a recruiting class, and it became difficult. I wonder deep down whether or not Luke Fickell was like, I really would rather have that job,
right?
But you can't walk away from your team in a playoff. So I don't know. I like Marcus Freeman, though. Remember, he had been a defense coordinator at Cincinnati and did a great job. And
he did.
I like him. We'll see. You're right. There's no certainty when you bring in a guy that's not been a head coach. At the same time, the reason Kelly's leaving Notre Dame is because he didn't think he could win a national championship there. Well, I agree with him. They're not going to win a national championship there, and I don't think Freeman will either. But if he goes 10-2 somewhere in that neighborhood year to year, he'll be all right. So fun game, but I think it's down to the wire. Fun game.
All right, Penn State, Arkansas. We don't have to get into this one too deep, but is it my turn to go first? Well, I'll just do it.
I think it is.
It is. Okay, look, Penn State's offense has had trouble all year long. Arkansas has been up and down, but I don't know. Look, it's a 1-point spread. Arkansas giving up a point to Penn State. The SEC has been so bad in bowl games this year. And I hate to go against Arkansas, but I think this is the game where Penn State kind of gets a little bit of offense and figures out a way to win.
Well, here's where I get you, because you can never get Arkansas right. So I've got this down, buddy. I've got Woo Pig Suey all the way. Let's go Razorbacks. Big over Penn State's sorry offense. This is a whitewash, and the SEC is going to roll, buddy.
All right, the last one, and then we'll talk a little Bama before I let you go. Michigan and Georgia.
I went back.
And it's a 7.5, by the way, 7.5 point spread. Georgia giving up 7.5.
I went back and forth for the reason that I think everybody is going back and forth. How are either one of these two teams going to score on that other team's defense? Neither of them have an elite quarterback. Neither of them have a guy that you think against those defenses, they're going to be able to throw the ball around. So they're going to try to turn and run it. Well, both want to run it, but both play really good run defense. I don't know. I don't think Michigan can run the ball against Georgia. Earlier in the week, I was leaning towards Michigan here. I've come back around. Georgia wants to get back. They want revenge on Alabama. They're this close to playing for a national championship. They'll shut down the Michigan run. Cade McNamara won't be able to throw it. Give me Georgia to pull away late. 41-30, higher scoring than everybody thinks. I think the time off allows people to heal up and figure some things out offensively. I'm going in a shootout. I'm going the opposite of what everybody else thinks, and I'll take Georgia.
Well, we're both taking Georgia, but I think that what you're going to find out is that Michigan is a fraud because they're going to get shut down. The only reason Alabama beat Georgia is because they stopped the run and they throw the football. If you saw Michigan in the Michigan State game, when they had to throw the football, it was awful. It was like watching football from 1980. I mean, like they couldn't do it. And McNamara is a good quarterback, but he wasn't when they had to throw the ball. They beat Ohio State, but it was all running. They're not going to run the ball like that on Georgia.
Agreed.
Georgia's not as bad as they looked against Alabama. And that's a scheme problem that they have, not a personnel problem. They have better players at every position. I think Georgia's going to absolutely hammer Michigan. And I hate to agree with you because I need us to be on separate sides for me to pick up games, but we're on the same one. All right, let's just
we already have three different, so you got to sweep me right now. You got to sweep me.
Like this. All right, we're not going to pick the Bama game because I'm going to do that in a segment coming up. Okay. But your thoughts on Bama and Cincinnati, and then I'm going to close up shop here.
I love the game. I love this game a lot for a lot of reasons. And I started out thinking that Bama would win by 100 because, first of all, let's be really honest with ourselves. Anytime Alabama goes up against a team that's not in the SEC or certainly not in a Power 5 conference, at the very least, you think, boy, this is going to get ugly in a hurry. But you're without an elite receiver. Cincinnati has two very, very good cornerbacks and a good quarterback. I think the game stays close well into the second half, but I think at the end of the day, Cincinnati gets worn down on the line of scrimmage. And so I was leaning towards Alabama pulling away late. I think that number was 13.5. I know we're not picking it, and you've got to do it next segment. But just to give you my thoughts, I really think this is a game at halftime. I think people around the country who hate watch Alabama, let's say, because they're tired of them, they're going to sit down and think Cincinnati's got a chance to pull off a stunner. And then they're going to be bitterly disappointed as the game wears into the fourth quarter. But I do think it's a good game for a half. I really do.
Guys, let me remind you that the Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. Now's a great time to go up against Jeff and me and make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook. It's located at Golden Moon Hotel and Casino. They offer traditional sports betting in which guests can bet on all professional league sports. You got the major collegiate sports as well. It's one of the only places that you can bet college baseball in the country. You can pick your favorite teams. You can hang out. They got 20 TVs with feeds to all those major sports networks, 12 state-of-the-art odds, wager boards listing all the games and scores. You got 3 wager stations to place in-person bets. And the great food and that sports bar atmosphere. Jeff, always great hanging out, my man. Happy New Year, and thanks for jumping on.
Happy New Year, brother. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed this all year long. Thanks to everybody out there who listened and or watched. We appreciate it. You be well, brother. Be good, man. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hopefully we'll have another show before this season's over. Alabama's got to win, though. We're going to talk about Alabama and Cincinnati and pick the game when we come back on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yuengling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The Lookout Bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
The world-famous Floribama has been serving up the good times and good music since 1964. And after 57 years, we're not even close to slowing down. There's live music 365 days a year and big events all year long, including the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us on the line November 4th through the 14th for a music lovers event like no other. You'll hear the stories behind the songs from the songwriters themselves. It's a full 10 days of incredible entertainment. Make plans to join us and get all the info online at frankbrownsongwriters.com.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we get you ready for Alabama versus Cincinnati. That's number 1 versus number 4. Our matchup is driven by R&R Cigars. And before I bring on Reagan from R&R Cigars, let me remind you guys that R&R Cigar invites you to come down to the Cigar Mansion. That's where he's at right now in Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport. 2 locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon selection in the Southeast awaits you. R&R is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R Cigar and get a cigar and a Yuengling for just $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, Tuscaloosa, downtown near Home to Suites, or go online, cigarmansion.com, thecigarmansion.com. 2 locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. Hanging out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up if you're listening on Jocks Radio. We appreciate you being here as well. What's up, Reagan?
Did I say this?
Is that the Elijah Craig that you guys barrel picked?
Yeah, and this one too. That's Lux Row. So we got Lux Row, we have the Yellowstone, and we have Elijah Craig. 3 barrel picks.
Well, that's awesome. I did get a Yellowstone barrel pick from you guys. I love those. I mean, they're so much fun. Yeah, it really is great. It's a great deal, and people from around the country envy coming to Alabama or down south where you get those barrel picks, because not everywhere you go has that available.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that R&R is, the best at what we do. Nobody else in Tuscaloosa has 3 barrel picks, let alone 1. So,
Well, look, let's talk some football, Reagan. You've been part of the show for a long time, and not only do you deal in cigars, but you also know your football. I want to get into this matchup, Alabama and Cincinnati. You're talking about a group of 5 team getting to the championship round, into the playoff. Do you think that they deserve to be there playing a week schedule?
Yeah. I do. I think that they played as strong of a schedule. I mean, I would say they played a stronger schedule than Georgia. I mean, like, look at the opponents. They beat a top 10 team. Where's Georgia's top 10 win? I mean, they got a quarterback that's going to go in the first round. They've got two All-Pro or two All-American corners. One of them won the Thorpe. I think they've got one of the best young head coaches in college football, and I think they beat the teams they were supposed to beat. I mean, you can cry about they beat whoever. Nick Saban says it week in and week out. Going undefeated in college football is really hard to do, and I don't care who you are. And that's out of Nick Saban's mouth. So, I think they deserve to be there. I think they have a better. I hate that they're playing Alabama, mostly because I think they could beat a Michigan or a. I think they could beat a Michigan or a Georgia. I think Alabama is the toughest team in the playoff currently. And it sucks because I think I think they have a really good team. And the other thing that people forget too is this Cincinnati's got a lot of these super seniors, guys that have been in the program for 6 years. So you got 24, 25-year-old guys out there playing against Bryce Young, who's 19. So, are they the 5-star kids? No. But can they be 5-star players for these teams? Because, I mean, look, if you have a player that's played for Nick Saban for 6 years and has been a starter for 6 years, which is just unheard of at Alabama, he's going to be a really, really good ball player. And so that's the thing about these, the COVID year that these kids got was they got an extra year.
Good point.
They got the free year of eligibility plus the extra year. So, I mean, like the University of Lafayette, UL Lafayette, had 16 super seniors, and they went undefeated. So I think we get so caught up in our SEC bubble that we don't ever look outside at other teams. But Cincinnati's a scary matchup, especially because they have two elite corners.
Well, and stop right there, because I want to ask you my next question, and you're kind of going along the same line. And I was going to ask you this: is Cincinnati's style going to be tough for Alabama to defend? And you can go ahead and start with the two corners, Alabama being without one of their best receivers, right? And Kobe Bryant and Sauce Garner, who likes the sriracha sauce from Arby's. Yeah. And has been like sauce on players in the secondary. Hasn't allowed a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's incredibly tough. There's going to have to be a kid that hasn't stepped up all season, step up in this game. Whether it's Seven, whether it's Billingsley, whether it's Latu. I mean, so one of these guys is going to have to pick up the slack because – I mean, J-Mo's going to have a tough game. He's going to be going against the best defensive back in college football. According to the voters, he won the Thorpe, and the other one's an All-American. So they're going to have to get something going running the ball, which has really been tough all year, or they're going to have to get, one of these young kids to step up like they did in the Auburn game, or the SEC championship. I mean, so, somebody's going to have to pick up the slack. And I think Ritter's a nightmare on Alabama's defense.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I mean, he'll be able to run the ball, throw it. He's got a ton of confidence and success out there. Let me ask you this, Reagan. Will Cincinnati pull out all the stops? Are they going to bring trick plays? Are they going to take risks against Alabama?
I think you have to. I mean, you look at the games that Nick Saban's lost in this during this time of year, and you have to have you have to create extra possessions. You have to, if the choice is 4th and 1 and you're kicking a field goal, or trying to get that conversion to get 6, I think they're probably going to be going for it more. I think you have to against Nick, and I think that's I think there's going to be a fake punt. There probably be there might be an onside kick, might be some 4th and 1s that they go for. Alabama special teams hasn't been exactly elite lately. Not talking about kicking the ball, but so there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And you have one chance. I mean, I'm old enough to remember Boise State versus Oklahoma in 2001.
Oh yeah, I remember that one too.
Last play they did the fake. They did the 2-point conversion. They did the fake They did the fake handoff, behind the back handoff. To stun the world. I mean, that was the big thing.
They call that the Statue of Liberty, Reagan.
Yeah, I know. But it shocked the world, right? And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think in the group of 5 has been looking for that type of moment ever since. And this is the first chance that they've had on this big of a stage since Boise State. So I think Cincinnati's going to, I think you're going to get the best shot that Cincinnati has to give. And, if people sit there, if these guys sit there and say, oh, we're Alabama, they're Cincinnati, and go out with that type of attitude, or or heaven forbid, one of the coaches says, oh, they're Cincinnati, we're Alabama, and I've been an NFL guy and whatever, they're going to get smacked.
Right. And you know what? That was the last question I was going to ask you, but you answered it already. All right, Reagan, look, you're America's favorite bar owner, and we're going to talk about that when we come back and pick this game, Alabama and Cincinnati. One more segment left of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, Alabama and Cincinnati, and we're going to tell you who's going to win right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The Lookout Bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. One more segment before Alabama and Cincinnati, or at least our preview of it is complete. Hanging out with Reagan Starner from R&R Cigar. I'm Mick Gillispie. Hey, guys, our show's brought to you by Yingling Lager. A huge thank you to Yingling Lager, and our good buddy Cheryl Yingling actually came and hung out with me at R&R, where you can go by and try the Hershey's Porter. That's there. Reagan's always got Yingling on tap and in bottle as well, and they are a really great supporter. Cheryl is from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and came to Alabama for college. So she puts a little bit of crimson love in each one of those green bottles, or in the case of the Porter, it's a dark bottle. Hey, if you're watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, 70,000 of you guys plus, like and subscribe. If you're not a subscriber yet, it's free, and we love you being here. And if you're hanging out with us on Jocks Radio today, hey, Roll Tide, thank you so much, or around the state of Alabama as well. All right, Reagan, you are known as America's favorite bar owner right there at R&R Cigar, a title that you wear proudly. Let's talk about this game. Alabama and Cincinnati. Are you ready to give me a prediction?
Yeah, I think what's the line?
13.5.
13.5. I think it's closer than that. I think I like Alabama win by 7. I like a 34-21 or 31-24. Sorry, I got a little dyslexic there.
No, I got you.
I like a 34-24, 31-24, something like that.
What do you expect to see in the game?
Who?
What do you expect to see?
Hopefully a healthy dose of Brian Robinson and Trace, and the running backs. Hopefully, that's the big one. I want to see Will Anderson go crazy. Alabama's front seven is going to have to play at an insane level, in my opinion. I think secondary is really going to have to step up, But
you got to feel that this game's a lot closer than the names on the jerseys would indicate.
Yeah, and the stars behind the names, I think it's tough. I think it's really tough. I don't know. I mean, if Alabama gets out to a big lead, I hope they don't take the foot off the gas like they did versus Oklahoma. I'm old enough to remember that Oklahoma game a couple years ago. I think we were up like 31-3 in the first half, and then Oklahoma scored 3 touchdowns unanswered.
Got back in it.
Yeah, make it they were down by 6 or something. I don't want to see that again. I think they win. I think Alabama wins. And I think there's going to be a lot of overreaction on Twitter during the first quarter. Lots of fire Pete Golding, lots of fire Bill O'Brien, lots of
right.
Eject Pete Golding into the sun.
Right. Well, look, if there's another game, then Pete Golding will have done his job. I'll give you mine real quick. We got a couple minutes before we close it up, but great picks, Reagan. I think Alabama is going to play this one a lot like they did against Ole Miss. They're going to push hard on the offensive line, and they're going to run the football with Brian Robinson, who should be healthy, at least close to healthy, right? And maybe Trey Sanders. Alabama has been limited in the run game, but they should be able to overpower Cincinnati. The fact that they don't have John Mechie hurts a lot because he's a possession guy, and they kind of need that. But some other guys are going to have to step up. Maybe it's Bolden. Maybe it's Brooks again. We saw him in the Auburn game. Maybe it's Baker, someone that I've expected to see and we really haven't yet. Maybe it's Leary, the speedster. Who knows? But Alabama's going to have to look. Maybe Billingsley. Someone else is going to have to step up and help this team in that spot that Mechie had. But, I expect Alabama to go out there and do what Alabama does, figure out a way to win and set up the rematch against Georgia for the national championship game. But I, like you, think that Cincinnati could really throw a monkey wrench in this. I don't think Alabama's as good as they looked against Georgia, but I don't think they're as bad as they looked against Auburn. I think they're somewhere in between, and we'll find out when they kick off against Cincinnati today where that in between is. All right, Reagan, you got 30 seconds. Tell me what you got going on at R&R.
Well, I mean, New Year's. So tomorrow's a big day for us. We're open till 1 a.m., so come celebrate New Year's. We got a cigar and champagne for $10. So pop on by, have some cigars, have some champagne, watch Alabama, try all of our different barrel picks. I mean, we got over 150 bourbons. That's why we're America's favorite bar. Both locations.
Undisputed America's favorite bar. Reagan, always great to see you, man. I love hanging out at R&R when I'm in town and seeing Reagan and Randy and Debbie and the entire crew, Leslie as well. Reagan, a dad soon to be. Guys, don't forget, after the game, come hang out right on the Bama Insider YouTube channel for First Reaction. Our buddy Jay Barker wants us to remind you that his show is on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. You can watch it every single day from noon until 2 o'clock. Alabama and Cincinnati, it's a kickoff at 2:30, and the Crimson Tide trying to make it 6-1 in the first round and get back to the national championship game. I'm Mick Gillispie. Hey, guys, thanks for watching the show tonight. I just felt like popping back on and thanking all of you guys for spending your evening with us. And this is let me pull that off of there. This is a radio show, as you guys know, and we record this the night before it plays on the radio across the state, right? So, it's just kind of been one of those things that we started doing because of COVID the night before. And then, it's just grown from there. But I want to thank all of you guys in the chat and a couple of super chats that came in tonight while the show was going on that we really, a lot of it's recorded. So I didn't get a chance to kind of thank everyone. But McConaughey, thank you for the super chat. Let me throw that up there right now. Awesome dude who's been one of the people that watches a lot of our content. And that was when Andrew Bone was on. And, of course, Bone, tremendous and sick today and having a pretty tough week. He lost one of his friends, and the funeral was, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago. But and he's not feeling well and, just dealing with all that. So thoughts and prayers to Andrew and his family. Also, hey, thanks for hooking it up, man. $20 from Danko Hawkins. Dude, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for watching and hanging out with us tonight. I love the comments. When I'm watching the show and you guys are just firing the comments off, it is so fun. It is so fun to hear what everyone has to say and making this channel great. So anyway, I just felt like popping on before we shut it down tonight and thanking you guys and telling you how much I appreciate you all viewing and watching and reading your comments, and excited about tomorrow. And like I said, we're going to be on tomorrow, and that'll be a lot of fun. That'll be a, right after the game, or depending on how the game turns out. Sometimes it's like at the, towards the end of the fourth quarter, we get on there, Trey Annity and I, and we talk about the game and we take your calls. And I know that a lot of you guys are going to want to get in there and talk. Also, we'll be back on Sunday night for our Sunday night call-in show, and hopefully we'll have a lot to talk about, including a national championship game. But anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of everything. Have a great New Year. Enjoy the game tomorrow. We'll talk to you right after the game. Roll Tide, everybody. Thank you.